Karsten Warholm with phenomenal pedigree and rightly soaking in the energy as he does before the competition. So, qualifying conditions, first two in each of these semi-finals and then two time qualifiers. And as far as semis have gone, that's pretty much how it's been all the way through. So there's been some getting used to that, but yes, some trialling of some new formats. Of course, the last couple of years we've also seen in some of the distance races, no time qualifiers in here. It'll be 2+2. Lambrughi of Italy on the outside. Well, Italy dominating the medal table. And even those off the podium have been roared on fantastically well by supporters here inside the Stadio Olimpico. Karsten Warholm with phenomenal pedigree. And rightly soaking in the energy as he does before the competition. Twice a European champion. Don't forget he has a background as a decathlete as well. He's great over the 400 flat, a finalist in Berlin when he doubled up. Konstantin Price of Germany alongside him. And we were talking about Turkey's various traditions in athletics, and all of the hurdles races, particularly 400 and steeplechase as well, tend to be strong. Nazir, watched him come through the European under-20s, where he was sensational. Now at senior level, Nick Schmidt of the Netherlands, and then Thomas Barr. And there's a nice big cheer, the Irish behind him. Absolutely loves soaking that in. I think that's Seamus Carey, who's helped convene the Irish fans together. And they really are loving life out there. 2 gold medals, having not seen a single one since 1998. What a great Irish generation. It's not been a bad championships for Switzerland. Again, a good generation and lots of medal hopes. Majinga Kambunji missing out, Anik Khalid missing out, but yeah, keep your eyes on Switzerland. Still some big finals for them to come. Arpad Banoshi of Hungary going on the inside there, as we see this interesting view through the stadium structure. And now more of a relevant close-up of Karsten Warholm. Warholm then this year, season's best, 46.70 at the Bislett Games, the Oslo Diamond League. Somewhere where he loves to produce his best performances, as you'd expect. But on the international stage, he always looks at home. And always goes out really hard too, making up ground on Lambrughi and going past. Nick Schmidt also in the orange vest, making a good getaway through the first half of this race. Warholm motoring into this top bend. Very much deja vu if you've watched a number of his races over the years. And Schmidt edging into contention for that second automatic spot with Thomas Barr and with Bonvin in the red of Switzerland now. Warholm in a different postcode to the rest of the athletes. He's halfway to Milan. And Schmidt and Barr very close on the line. The Dutchman just looked to have got it there. 48.75 pops up for Warholm. Didn't need to work too hard there, Tim Hutchings.
No, he didn't. No, that was very, very easy for Warholm. The interesting thing about the 400-metre hurdlers is because they're sort of locked into their stride pattern, they kind of have to give most of the effort necessary that they would if they were running really hard through the first 300. It was only over the last couple of flights that Warholm really switched off and then was maintaining his stride length but slowing it down, almost in slow motion down the home straight. It was interesting because I think in Oslo, 10 days ago. He went off way too hard. He was beaten by Dos Santos, the Brazilian, and misjudged it. He stumbled at the last barrier, and that cost him the race. That was down to fatigue because he'd gone so hard. So he's just polishing the balance, the spread of energy through his races. But that's a very comfortable win, obviously. Good second place there by Schmidt coming through, and Bar 49.61. We'll have to wait and see if that is enough. But he's having a good week, Bar. He's already got a gold medal from the mixed relay. He will be frustrated he didn't get second there. He's a really canny racer, but great running from Schmidt.
So, confirmed result from that first of the semi-finals. Warholm from Schmidt. It was 0.04 of a second in the end.
So who goes in this next one? Well, Alistair Chalmers for Great Britain on the outside. Rasmus Magi of Estonia. He's a 47.8 performer, 48.56 this year, makes him the 6th ranked European. So let's have a look at these athletes more closely and confirm this lane draw. Chalmers goes in lane 9 for Great Britain. 48.8 performer at his best, 49.10. Didn't look entirely happy for my money in his heat yesterday. The University of Bath athlete, 24 now. Commonwealth Games bronze medalist in Birmingham a couple of years back. Carl Bengstrom goes in lane 8. Bengstrom, 48.49 this year. He's a good athlete. He's a 5th ranked in Europe, the Swede. He'll be pretty happy with that lane 8 draw, I would imagine. Rasmus Magi goes in the lane 7. Very experienced, the Estonian. And he too will be quite happy to have a couple of good athletes outside him. He'll be chasing hard, Bengstrom. Although they do run blink at these athletes, they've got to focus on their own race. Osmani Kopello of Turkey hasn't broken 50 seconds this year as yet. He's going to need to here, I think, to get inside into the qualifying squad. His 47.81 was back in 2018. The year before in London, he took a silver medal at the World Championships. Joshua Abuaku goes in lane 5. The German, 48.9 this year. He's a good athlete. Abuaku, World Championship finalist, finished 8th in Budapest last year. Plenty of support for him in the arena. The Spaniard Sergio Fernandez goes in 4. He's a 48.8 performer at his best, 49.5 this year. Fernandez, and then Bertoncelli, the Italian. Giacomo Bertoncelli goes in lane 3. Listen to this. $49.35 this year. Doesn't have him inside the European top 10, but the Italians have generally been outperforming expectation. And Michael Antonio de Jesus of Portugal goes on the inside in lane 2. He's a 49.2 performer. How frustrating has it been, those hot seats, after all these years. What a good idea it was to get the athletes who may get non-automatic qualifying spots in the focus of the cameras rather than tucked away somewhere in the bowels of the stadium where you couldn't see the emotions. And sport is about emotion, isn't it? We'll see what emotions are on the faces of Barr and Price, the 3rd and 4th places in the first semi-final after this. Semi-final 2, the men's 400-meter hurdles. Away they go. Chalmers running blind in effect. He's got to run his own race. Those inside him have gone off pretty hard. Certainly Bengstrom in the yellow has picked up on him a little bit here. Nobody else really showing significantly. It's fairly even at the moment. Chalmers into his running now, left of picture, going really hard down the back straight. He's blasted once he got up to full speed through 200 meters. Going well at the moment is the very experienced Magi of Estonia, 3rd from left in lane 7. Magi probably leading. They're beginning to come through inside now. Running well, the Spaniard Fernandez in lane 4 in that sort of pink or orange and yellow strip. Chalmers at the moment needs to be in the first 2. Bengstrom coming back at him. Magi looking strong the last couple of flights, and Chalmers just staggering, unable to hang on to the first 2. Watch the times. The line 48.44. It's much quicker than the first heat. And that is a good run from Magi. Nicely judged race from the Estonian. He's so experienced. Really did ease through there very, very well indeed. And looks like he's finished with a bit left in the tank as well. And I suspect that Barr and Price will have been lopped out because the third and fourth places, certainly Chalmers, a really strong run for third, wasn't far behind Bengstrom's 48.51. In fact, for Chalmers, it might have been not far outside his lifetime best. I think he might have just run a personal best, Alistair Chalmers. 48.88 was his best coming here. Barr and Price, certainly Price has gone, and Barr, I suspect, has gone. Look at this. Chalmers, desperate to see his time come up. Not sure why it's taking so long to appear bottom left of your screen. Barr at 49.61, I suspect might have gone as well, because Chalmers surely would have been well under 49 seconds, Alex. It's desperate moments for this, and this is torturous. Why is it taking so long?
Yeah, well, Chalmers, he's been very quietly winning British title after British title the last few years. That 48.88 best from Aldegem, the great international Flanders meeting from 2 years ago. As you say, he's going to be very close to it. Ultimately beaten by two very experienced, top-quality international athletes. Just having another look then at this race, and as you said, the experienced Estonian, 32 years of age. He's been there and he's done this before. Also 3 times in the top 6 at the European Championships. He was a silver medalist in Zurich 10 years ago. And Bengstrom, the young Swede, also brilliant in the final stage of the race. And Chalmers did his best on the outside here, gritting his teeth, working hard, and even closing his eyes at one point, getting across the line behind the top 2.
Confirmation of Maggie and Bengstrom going through by right from that second semi-final in the men's 400-metre hurdles. Chalmers, we'll have to wait and see, but it was indeed a personal best from Alistair Chalmers. Brilliant stuff from the outside lane. No, that's exactly right. Some athletes spoilt for choice. They're so talented. Sibilio will get all the support that can possibly be.
Wilfried Hapiot of France, another of the big contenders in this one. Vit Muller on the outside, one of the athletes who will have to be close to that lifetime best if he's to make it through to the final. And he goes for Czechia on the outside, representing Slovenia. Tends to be a pretty good event for them over the years. This is Matic Ian Gucek, who's improved this year to 48.37. And could be a danger man for the likes of Chalmers and Abueku, who are waiting to see if their times will be good enough. But Sibilio, 48.25, as I mentioned, that would stand him in very good stead as a contender for a medal, certainly in front of the home crowd, even though Carsten Varholm, big favourite in this event, if he can make it around safely, of course. Emil Agikum, well, one German is in the hot seat, one has already been knocked out of a hot seat. Agikum, personal best of 48.47, so again, very capable. Hapiot, 49.10 this year, 47.41 at best, along with Nazir Akçam, part of a Turkish 1-2 finish in European age group competitions. And now stepping up to senior level. This man has improved to 49.34. Jesus Delgado of Spain, and alongside him on the inside, lane 2, lane 1 not being used in these 400 hurdle semis, is David Teed. Abueku and Chalmers, they're the men watching on. As for this race, Teed, Delgado, Akçam, Hapiot, Agikum, Sibilio, Gucek and Muller, the third semi-final of the men's 400 hurdles. So that crisp sound of the gun, and the athletes spring away out of their blocks and off on their hurdles challenge around this one lap of the track. The tall figure of Agikum just seeing Sibilio race away from him, motoring down the back straight now. Gucek in the bright green of Slovenia with him on the outside. Sibilio expected to come through strongly down the home straight. Working his way into that barrier, rising first once again. Gucek is still there. Agyukum also trying to get inside the top two. Akçam with the best finish down this home straight though. Sibelio the victor for Italy, with the Turk joining him. Fantastic when you consider that his personal best 48.93, and the clock is showing him as producing 48.14. So personal best by 0.8 of a second behind Sibelio, 48.07. And Tim, it is brilliant once again to see an athlete who knows that they are desperate to make it through to the final and have to produce a PB.
Yeah, the danger is that I think the third and fourth places were not so far behind. Akçam in second place, 48.14. I think we might have seen Chalmers knocked out there. And the other German, Abu Aku, who ran 49.13 for fourth place. I think he might be gone there. Yeah, and I think that's the commiseration from family. That's really frustrating. He ran a personal best. It was brilliant from Chalmers for third place in his second semi-final, but that third race was the best of the three by some margin in depth. We're waiting for confirmation of the results in that third semi-final, but I suspect Chalmers and Abu Aku have gone.
You're exactly right, and it's needed here. We can see in the bright green a Slovenian national record from Gucek of 48.34, just 0.02 of a second ahead of Agyukum. And Agyukum breaking his own record set at the World Under-20 Championships of 48.91. So by nearly 0.6 of a second, he's produced his best. And Akçam by an even bigger margin, the fastest race of his life.